Hi, I'm Dave Gardy for CyberSecurity TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. for another CyberSecurity TV Shark Fest. It's been a hiatus a little bit. Joining me here in the studio is Miss Barb Bridges, who is the cybersecurity business consultant to a lot of the companies. Thanks for joining us, Barbara. We've got a lot of three good companies today and some excellent sponsors, and it's good to be back in the chair again here on the Shark Fest.
It is.
So real quick housekeeping. The way this program works is there are three companies. Each will have 5 minutes to present. Immediately after that, 5 minutes will be a question and answers from the judges, and then we go to the next company and do that 3 times until we get all the questions answered. Then the judges will go off to their deliberation room. We'll show a sponsor video and come back for the final decision from the judges. With that said, the contestants are also allowed to have PowerPoints. All three do today, but the PowerPoints do eat up time, so it's kind of a balance there. We're going to go with Barbara now. Barbara, can you introduce the judges and the companies?
Yes, I would be happy to. I think I'll introduce the judges and then we'll introduce the companies as we go along.
We're a little rusty.
We have 3 terrific judges. They're all former Govies. Many are still working in the government community, and we've actually worked with all of them before. So I'll start first with Glenn Hernandez. He is the CISO of OpEdge Solutions, which is an LLC. Glenn Hernandez is passionate about creating strategic partnerships to revolutionize organizational transformation with many resilient technologies where they meet mission objectives. Hernandez is a senior consultant. He served more than 26 years in the U.S. Coast Guard, and he was the Chief Information Security Officer from 2013 through 2017, which was very exciting. He also co-authored the Coast Guard's cyber strategy and led the Coast Guard's first cyber crisis response based on the National Incident Management System framework. So he has been acknowledged with many awards. He's had incredible experience. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering from none other than the Coast Guard Academy, Master of Science from the U.S. Post-Naval Graduate School. He has a number of distinguished awards, including the U.S. Coast Guard Legion of Merit, the DoD Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the first U.S. Coast Guard Legion of Merit, or I should say the first Military Intelligence Corps Association, the Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Knowlton Medal, and also the AFCEA Leadership Meritorious Service Awards. He is very active in the AFCEA cyber community. In fact, I believe he sits on one of the committees there. He's been a longtime supporter of STEM programs for over 30 years, even though he looks like he's 25. He volunteers a lot of time in the cyber education and doing a lot with workforce initiatives. So Glenn, it's great to see you and welcome today.
Absolutely honored to be here.
Very nice. What I'd like to do then is I'm going to go to the next judge, Carrie Trepp. She's a former captain, U.S. Coast Guard, retired. She also served in the Coast Guard, retiring in 2020, where she was a senior IT advisor to the Commander Pacific Area, where she was responsible for delivering capability to meet Coast Guard operational needs throughout the Pacific, encompassing 6 of the 7 continents, 71 countries, and more than 74 million square miles of ocean, from the U.S. western states to Asia, and from the Arctic to Antarctica. She is a University of Maine alumni, a 1994 U.S. Coast Guard officer candidate school graduate. She was selected by the Coast Guard. She earned a Master of Science in Information Technology in Arlington, Virginia. And she was instrumental in standing up an online search and rescue form that saved lives following the devastation created by Hurricane Katrina. for which her team received the 2006 Captain Niles Thompson Innovation Award. She also served as the Rescue 21 Project Resident Office Executive Officer in Scottsdale, Arizona, where she oversaw deployment of enhanced communications created to improve assistance to mariners in distress, save lives, and property at sea. She has also received numerous Coast Guard Meritorious Service Medals and 5 Coast Guard Commendation Medals. So she lives currently in, I love this place, Friendship, Maine. Carrie, it's nice to see you again and nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And then finally, we have Colonel Retired Lori Moe Buckout. She is changing roles soon, but currently President and CEO of Corvus Consulting, Strategic Consulting and Services Group, serving DoD electronic warfare, cyber, and information warfare communities. She served as an Army officer from 1984 to 2010, retiring to assume a position in the defense industry. She's a native of Virginia, attended James Madison University. A couple of other really important roles that she had is she served in leadership and staff positions from the 3rd Infantry Division to the White House, and from platoon leader to battalion commander, ending her career as Chief of Electronic Warfare for the Army's headquarters staff, in addition to a Master's of Military Arts and Science and Military Strategy from Command and General Staff College, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and a Master's in Science and Information Systems Management at Webster University. She has nearly a decade of service in Germany, the Middle East. She spent a year as a battalion commander of the 32nd Signal Battalion in Iraq from 2003 to 2004. She's served as a company commander, a battalion executive officer, presidential communications officer, while assigned to the White House Communications Agency. Many also awards. She received military awards, including the Distinguished Service Medal, the Bronze Star, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, 2 awards, and the Meritorious Service Medal, 4 awards, and several awards of Joint and Army Commendation and Achievement Medals, as well as other various service awards. So you can tell from these 3 different judges, we have quite an accomplished group of individuals who have all served in the military and achieved great things. So we're very honored to have them all, and great to see you again as well.
So now we go to the companies.
Okay, well, we have, I think the first company that will be participating is going to be
Comply.
Comply. So we have, what we'll do is we'll talk about each one as they come on board.
Right.
So we have Nick Summers. He's the CEO and co-founder of Comply. CEO, co-founder. It's a leading AI cybersecurity firm. He serves both public and private sector markets with offices based in Tampa and Miami. Before founding Comply, Nick held senior leadership roles at many of the top 100 global companies. You'll recognize most of them: Ernst & Young, KPMG, Booz Allen, Accenture, Microsoft, Oracle, Cisco, Northrop Grumman, and numerous others. Comply's mission is simple, and you'll get to hear more about it as Nick, you now are on stage, and we'd love to hear more about what exactly Comply does.
And we'll start the clock now. Go ahead, Nick.
Great. Dave and Barbara, thanks for having me. Judges, it's a pleasure to be here today. We started Comply as to solve 3 fundamental problems, and we were driven by the demand that's coming up from the DoD for CMMC when it becomes, when it makes it into the code by the end of the year. I think October would roughly be the time frame. We'll start seeing it pop up in contracts. Beginning of the year, we'll start to see it really take effect in the industry. but the impact is already rippling through the DIB. So what we had struggled with, and the industry is struggling with right now, was to solve some fundamental problems to deal with CMMC. And first and foremost were the challenges. So it's because it's so complex, we wanted to make this more simplistic to give a view for the viewers as well as the judges, the key tenets of what we're trying to work through, and what every DIB, whether it's a prime, everybody in the DIB, doesn't matter if it's a prime, a sub, and even the DoD itself are trying to work through these issues around cybersecurity and compliance. Major challenges that we're seeing in the industry, and where companies such as ours and the companies that I came from previously, whether it's in the consulting space or it's in the technology space, or how do we solve these three problems in order to get ourselves compliant, and then how do we maintain compliance once we get there? The three main issues that we're working with, or that we're trying to help companies figure out, we've obviously figured it out, but where we're trying to help everybody excel is around people, time, and cost. And these three factors never move away from each other. The first challenge in the industry is there's an incredible shortage of CMC experts. There's roughly 50 C3PAOs, 55 in the country today. There's only 151 CCAs as of a couple of weeks ago. And there are 76,500 companies that have to get the certification. So the ratio is about 510 to 1. And that's just going to be unsustainable, not only for the companies, but also for the industry itself, which means that we're not going to get to cybersecurity, the posture that we need in order to protect our national defense in the time that we need to do it to maintain compliance with the regulations. The second obvious issue is it takes a lot of time to do this, because the way it's been laid out, it's a highly complex process. And even for a small company, the average time right now, based on the way things are going, is about 12 to 24 months. And that's if you're roughly about a company of, let's say, 1,000 to 2,000 people. That's an exceptional amount of time. When you start to get up to the prime contractors and the subs to the primes, you're talking about companies with 100,000 people, and in any given day, in excess of 300,000 to 400,000 assets. That's a lot of compute, that's a lot of people, and that's a lot of complexity. And time and cost always drive complexity. Unfortunately, where we are today is the pricing that's been put out, the cost, companies trying to figure out, well, how much is this really going to cost us? The cost estimates are wildly inaccurate. And as a result of that, most of the companies that are trying to help get organizations compliant are hesitant to try to put forward pricing, because they themselves don't quite know how to navigate the environment for when we start with policies, and as we move to assessments, and then as we move to compliance, and then as we finally, hopefully, we get to maintaining compliance. It's a very complex set of calculations. Unfortunately, industry has it wrong, and the DoD as well had it wrong. We came along and we're going to help solve these challenges. The first thing we looked at solving was the people factor. There's just not enough. There needs to be a lot more people that both at the organization that are capable of understanding, how do I help us get CMMC compliant? And secondly, how do I help us maintain compliance over time? CMC compliance is not a one and done. You have a certification that starts after your first year, you get your certification. Every year you maintain it. Every 3 years you have to do it again. So this is no longer just a single one-time event. This is the new way of business moving forward inside of the DIB, and especially if you're going to work with the DoD. I might also add that many of the other federal agencies, Homeland Security, the DOJ, they're all looking at adopting a very similar approach to cybersecurity. The DoD just happened to be doing this first.
30 seconds.
And they're going to continue. 30 seconds. So our platform is comprised of three components. There's Policy AI, Asset AI, and Mask AI. What Policy AI does, it transforms your policies, it assesses your policies against NIST, it identifies the gaps, and it provides the new policies for CMMC compliance. Oops, sorry. Our second tool is Asset AI. It looks at all the assets in the environment. It provides a real-time view of assets and users, and then it alerts you when your assets or users move out of the compliance envelope. And our last piece of technology is Mask AI. And Mask AI takes sensitive data and transforms it into synthetic data, and it allows it to move outside of the DoD or outside of the prime contractor into the supply chain without exposing CUI data.
Okay, time. I let you go a little longer because we're all a little rusty.
Thanks, you did it.
All right, so now we're going to start with the judges, the questions. And is somebody going to start for the judges? It looks like it's Lori, and your 5 minutes begins now.
Okay, I love the idea of using AI to assess your assets, to mask with synthetic data, et cetera. But this is, AI is big right now. So how are you different from anyone else who wants to do the same thing?
Well, first of all, the way that we've leveraged AI is unique to us in that we anonymize data from our customers so that nothing moves into the large language model. So even though we may be using GPT or another provider for AI services, it can be anything from OpenAI. First of all, we anonymize the data. So we try to keep as much of the privacy in-house as possible. Secondly, the AI version that we use is in GovCloud. So we're using Azure OpenAI. And this is certified, well, it will be. It comes out, the certification lands, I think, in June, which is to an L4 and L5 information category. And that data doesn't make it outside of that, of OpenAI for Gov. So whereas in the traditional model, AI it uses the larger context of all the inputs from all the users and all the prompts that come to AI. We wanted to make sure that anything that dealt with DoD data or sensitive data of any type, whether it's CUI, secret, top secret, regardless of the classification, that data would not be used in a language model that would be able to then be used by potentially our adversaries.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead, Carrie. Do you have a question?
I do. So thank you, Glenn. So from my main experience is with the operational commanders and our assets out in the field. So when you use the term asset, I'm not only thinking IT, I'm also thinking of the actual, whether it's an afloat asset or an aircraft or somebody on the shore, have you taken into account, or how have you taken into account the disconnected state when you're doing this asset AI?
It's a great question. So we're actually currently engaged with one of the four services on exactly this for a data platform, specifically related in the context that you're speaking. If there's an asset, whether it is a physical asset or a software asset, it could be a tank, it could be a ship, it could be a person, it could be a gun, it could be any type of article that would be deemed an asset by the military or by any of the other agencies. If that asset can be tracked, or if that asset has some degree of if there's a tag associated with it, and it could be any kind of a tag. But if that is a known asset, it can be tracked in real time in a telemetry view. And by that, what we mean is it's not simply that this asset exists and it may be somewhere. We use multi-vectored views of not only what that asset is doing at that particular moment in time, where it is, who's interacting with it, what happened to it 1 minute ago, what happened to it a year ago, and any changes that occur to that asset per se. So it in real time, it takes in a vast amount of data and provides the real-time visibility so that you have a status in hand on the ground via the type of reporting instrument that you like, whether it's a BI dashboard, for example, as some of the services use, or a more real-time view of it. And it also doesn't matter whether you're doing it at a desktop or mobile device in the field per se. But the way that we've approached this was you can't rely on one single source of truth. So it's not like asking a soldier, hey, have you seen this gun? You can ask everybody in the infantry all at once, hey, where is this? And you'll be able to, from everybody's input, you'll be able to very quickly pinpoint exactly where it is, what happened to it, what it's doing, and then you're able to make use of that asset moving forward.
Hey, Nick, this is Glenn Hernandez. My presentation. Thank you very much for sharing. Real quick, how many companies are currently using your platform?
Oh, terrific. So our data mass platform is currently used by Five Eyes. So you'll see it across many of the clandestine services in the US, the UK, Canada, Great Britain, and New Zealand. Our policy tool is used by, I think, about 20 some companies right now, 21 coming up here in the US that serve both the DoD. We have a lot of use on the policy side for our financial services customers that are also trying to gain compliance. Recently had a ransomware attack. They're trying to figure out how do they improve their posture. For our asset tool, that is in over 600 companies right now, just here in the US alone. So for different organizations, they elect to use some of our tools that are more applicable to the immediate need. When we came to the CMMC, we saw that if we put all three of these together and realigned them to serving a specific need that the DoD had, which is helping all the companies that support our government get compliant, that's how we got to this overall solution. But independently, our tools are used worldwide.
Okay, that's time. I let you go over again because I forgot to warn you about the 30 seconds.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you, Nick. Great presentation.
Pleasure.
And next, we're going to go to Barbara for an introduction of Pete Nicoletti, CISO with Checkpoint.
Yes. Happy to introduce Pete. He has 32 years of IT and MSP experience and has actually been a hands-on CISO for the last 20 years, recently joining Checkpoint as the global CISO of the Americas. Pete's experience and leadership was most recently at Cybrex Defense as CISO. This company is an advanced artificial intelligence and machine learning analytics formed as a DARPA-funded project. Pete is the former CISO of Hertz Global, successfully protecting the brand in over 150 countries, 20,000 employees, and 10,000 different locations. So very excited to have you on board and want to hear more about the capabilities of Checkpoint.
5 minutes starts now.
Thank you very much, David, Glenn, Carrie, and Lori. I appreciate your service. I am simply a significant taxpayer. So let me introduce Checkpoint real quick. We're one of the oldest cybersecurity companies in the world. We're over 30 years old. We just celebrated our birthday. Our founder, Gil, actually started the firewall business with the stateful firewall. And we offer services in the cloud, in data centers, endpoints, email, and code. And here I am to talk about our current situation. We are losing the battle. Right now, cyber criminals are the third largest GDP in the world and growing. We are failure. Checkpoint research points out that ransomware has affected over 5,000 companies this year. We are paying the criminals to get better, and we need to change our entire way of working. We are losing the battle right now. In 2028, we expect it to hit almost $15 trillion in worldwide GDP. So the situation is that not only are our tools failing, our hosting providers are failing, our security equipment is failing. We have the same issue that we just talked about a moment ago with lack of investment in people and technology. And here's a slide that we put out because we do have some peers in the business and some competitors. We're seeing this security vector being exploited. We're seeing Russia attack and steal Microsoft source code. We're seeing Microsoft Outlook being impacted by the Chinese and our government employees' data being stolen. This we cannot allow anymore. What we need to do is have higher efficacy. Our tools need to work better than anything. As we're going to be hearing in all the presentations about artificial intelligence, we need to bring a bigger artificial intelligence gun to the AI gunfight, and that's exactly what Checkpoint offers. We've been doing artificial intelligence and machine learning for over 10 years. We have over 100,000 collection points and millions of endpoints. We look at these each day, and the interesting thing about our threat feed is it's not just finding 0 days and finding 0 days better than anyone, but it's updating the entire ecosystem of our customers in under 2 seconds. So that is what Checkpoint's known for. We're extremely well-liked by our customers. Our company has been awarded the happiest place to work by Fortune magazine. And the happy employees create happy customers. Gartner just awarded us the top peer-reviewed in all of our product lines. So happy employees make happy customers. And we're here to win the battle for the United States and as well as our customers throughout the world. How about that? I beat it under in 5 minutes.
25. So we'll give you a little extra time in the quick Q&A, and I'll turn it over to, I guess, Lori again, right? Or Glenn's turn, sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have to get this out. Pete, great presentation, but I'm really curious. What's your thoughts on this emphasis from the president to Congress to the agencies on zero trust? How do you see zero trust helping your cause with your capabilities?
Absolutely. So we're extremely involved in zero trust initiatives for our customers and prospects. You know, zero trust is a journey. And if you look at what's happened recently with the folks out in Las Vegas, you know, zero trust starts with authentication, goes on to microsegmentation. And if you look at companies that have not gone down the zero trust path, they're failing. Zero trust is a great idea. I like to call it appropriate trust. That's a kinder, gentler, politically correct phrase, but we're fully behind it. We have free workshops that we actually can take our federal customers through and show them how mature they are on that journey. We have a lot of generic material that helps you sell it internally with the company or the agency. So we're members of the Cloud Security Alliance, Zero Trust Working Group. So we really endorse it. We see it being an extremely important way to secure our world and secure our agencies and win the battle. Totally behind it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Lori.
Hey, I'll hop in. Hey, so Pete, great presentation. Thank you. So, you know, I saw the graphs comparing you to, you know, some of the other big guys out there. I'll just, like, for instance, pick Palo Alto. I didn't see a volume, like, for instance, number of customers, devices, whatever, against, say, Palo Alto. So I see the graphs where you're beating them in time and you're beating them in detection. What is the volume of customers that you have compared to the volume of customers that some of the big guys have?
You know, they did grow faster than us in the last few years, that's for sure. You know, there's knobs in business. You know, how much you want to spend in marketing, how much you want to spend in sales, how much you want to spend in development and acquisitions. Our company is Israeli-based, and we're extremely, you know, satisfied with our market share. We have over 100,000 customers. We have close to $4 billion in the bank. We're extremely profitable. We're the most profitable security company in that peer group. And we spend more money in development. And it shows in our efficacy, and it shows in the number of vulnerabilities and how quickly we respond to them. Our customers don't really ask us how many customers there are. They really are looking for efficacy right now. That's the number one issue if we're going to win the battle. So it's a good question, but we're all about efficacy and research and development.
I got it. Just very quickly, the reason I asked was because if you have 4 customers that are not terribly challenging, you can have a very high rate of protection by somebody who's got, you know, 4 million customers. So I see that the disparagement is not that high.
We have 8 out of the top banks. We have a lot of agencies that we do not talk about that are very, very happy with our solution, and none of our customers are in the news.
I got it. Thank you very much.
Hi, so this is Carrie again with, I'm not sure if you heard my question from the earlier presentation, but with regards to having, you know, you do that detection and you've got somebody who's in a disconnected state. And I'm not that familiar with your company. I hear about the detection, but what experience on the response side with, you know, having that detection and then having people in a disconnected state, that how are you part of that whole process, or is it just the detection?
Well, it's tricky. We actually call it prevention. Our competitors call it detection. Detection's too late. That's that's the security guard in the bank that tells you your bank's being robbed. We are into prevention. So certainly our threat cloud, it's the largest, most effective and efficient and fastest in the industry. But you're right, for government requirements, we need to be able to break that off and serve that in a way. And we do have some federal projects underway right this second that we are able to offer the advantages of our threat cloud, but have it in a disconnected, totally on-board way. So it's challenging, but we're doing it.
So I had a follow-up then, if we still have time.
You do.
So Pete, I run one of the subcommittees for AFC. It's called the Zero Trust Strategies Subcommittee. And one of the things we talk about is something that Carrie alluded to is on operational technologies and disconnected devices. Does your platform support operational technologies like, buildings or cutter assets, boats? So there's a lot of issue with the maritime with cranes. Can your platform help those type of devices and machines?
Absolutely. We have a whole division within our company that's focused on IoT security, where non-conventional operating systems, smaller operating systems, chip-based operating systems, where we can put this protection in.
30 seconds.
We've actually elevated the security to UL standard gold. So web cameras, other IoT devices, we actually can put our code in there and protect it against unauthorized updates, all kinds of really interesting things. Love to talk more about it, and also our main quantum firewalls look for, find, and protect all IoT devices within your entire network, whether it's TVs, cameras, whatever. So we are very focused on securing that world.
And that's time. Thank you, Nick. Excellent, Pete, excellent presentation. And good questions from the judges. Next, we'll turn it over to Barbara for introduction of our third company.
Okay. The third and final company today is, first of all, I'd like to introduce you to Chris Will. He's the Director of Commercial Solutions for Wilco Tech, not his company. It is his company, but not named after him, I should say. A little bit about Chris is that he has a rich cybersecurity education and workforce development background. He brings a wealth of experience from his tenure at leading educational companies and a number of innovative startups. His career is marked by significant contributions to developing and delivering cutting-edge cyber education, training, and certification solutions across government agencies, the DoD, higher education institutions, and enterprise customers.
And I want to point out that Chris is a two-time SharkFest veteran and a one-time winner. So I'll turn it over to Chris. 5 minutes starts now.
Great. Hang on a second. I'm trying to share my screen. Is it sharing properly?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. I just want to make sure that's working as it's supposed to. Well, thanks for having me here, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Let me tell you a little bit about what we do. CyberStar is a platform for simplifying compliance for the new DoD 8140.03 directive. If you're not familiar with that, basically the cyber workforce was working under one set of assumptions, and now we're moving to another set of assumptions, which are far more complex. We're moving from work roles, 14 work roles, to over 213 work roles, and the whole idea, obviously, is for agencies in the DoD and for all the supporting contractors in the DIB community to demonstrate the compliance, make sure that the right people in the right roles with the right skills, and as opposed to where we had people, who were certified in just literally 14 categories. Like I said, the world has got a lot more complex under this new directive. So complementary to what's going on with CMMC, we've got these new requirements that will be written into contracts. by the end of the year at the latest, and that we're going to, all DIB contractors are going to have to adhere to before the end of the year. Our platform, the reason I'm here today is, we've been providing services to the Army under 8570 since 2005, and we have a strong record of success doing that. We have had over 200. Hang on a second. We've had over 2.6 million registered users in the system. It's highly scalable. We've had nearly 60% of DoD personnel using the platform, and we can demonstrate about a 90% reduction in manual activity related to compliance tracking for these types of workforce issues. Now, with the new complexity introduced by 8140, we're in a position to leverage all that experience and put it to work for you. And basically, we've got a platform that is basically going to replace the need for spreadsheets and SharePoint, which will be impossible to manage under the new requirements anyway, and basically automate that process for all, for anybody who's got to do business in a cyber capability for the federal government. So I'm going to do a real quick video. And
for government agencies and contractors, navigating the challenges of cyber workforce compliance can feel like a never-ending maze. Discover a clear and efficient path with CyberStar. CyberStar sets the industry standard for simplifying complex cyber workforce management. As a purpose-built cloud-based platform, it automates repetitive work role training, tracking, and notification tasks, letting your cyber workforce focus on what's really important. CyberStar is not another training tool or learning management system. It stands apart as the only system designed to help cyber workers attain and maintain DoD Directive 8140.03 regulations. It is used by over 2.5 million users in the Department of Defense. Imagine reducing your training and compliance costs by up to 90%, while simultaneously increasing accuracy, even as you grow your cyber workforce. With CyberStar, this is a reality. Through its intuitive interface, users can effortlessly log in, understand the requirements, and submit compliance evidence. Assigning tasks to users and approving submissions becomes a breeze. In the dynamic world of cyber compliance, staying up to date is vital. CyberStar seamlessly adapts to changing roles and policy standards, while users receive reminders and managers are kept informed of new requirements or approaching deadlines. Plus, as a FedRAMP authorized system, procurement and deployment is streamlined, getting your organization up and running quickly. Transform your cyber workforce into an agile, compliant unit ready to face the challenges of tomorrow. Are you ready to revolutionize your cyber workforce management? Contact us today and be a part of the CyberStar evolution.
30 seconds.
Okay, well, I think that's all I've got to say for right now. So if the judges want to lean in and ask me questions, I hope I can answer. I'm ready to go.
All right. So who's leading off the questions? It's Lori. Go ahead.
All right. Who else is doing this?
We're not really aware of any other competitors now. The competition that I always like to cite is in-house IT, right? So generally, when you have a software platform, often your biggest competition will be, somebody in the IT department saying, "Hey, we can do that, we can build that, we can manage that. Hey, we'll use our LMS. We'll use SharePoint. We'll use, hey, we'll do this all on spreadsheets." I would argue that is overwhelming now with this new set of requirements. When you're talking 213 work roles, and then not just talking about, under 8570, you had qualifications which were limited to what your education and training was, or what your certification was, for example, right? So I think an IAT level 1 certification, for example, is a CompTIA Security Plus. Well, that would qualify you for a work role, but now the work roles have gotten so complex that certification is only one piece of the puzzle. There is not a single certification that maps 100% to any one of the work roles under this new directive, which means you're going to have demonstrate knowledge, what they call skills, abilities, and then you'll have tasks assigned to that. So there's a lot of elements that come into this now that didn't need to be accounted for. It's not just tracking, hey, this person still has their certification in place, and yeah, they've renewed it or it's coming up for renewal. It's gotten a lot more complex than that.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gary.
Hi, so I'm there. So the with regards to, you mentioned in the video, it mentioned that the end user or the you know that cyber workforce person needed to upload that they had completed it. Is that for every certification or is that just for certain ones?
So anything that's covered in the work role, so any certification or education that would indicate compliance from a knowledge standpoint, for example, would be included. So that could be anything from a CISSP to your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, anything that meets that requirement on the knowledge, for example, per work role. And then, of course, there's all the other continuing education, for example, that you would have in order to meet your ongoing requirements for that certification, as well as how that maps to the skills and abilities you should have in that job role. So that's all included.
I guess so. Then just quick follow on: are there companies that have automated that process from other systems they have that capture that information?
You know, I think there's information that can be captured, obviously, in certain ways, and then can maybe via API, we'll be able to integrate. I know we're integrating with LTI 1.3 and some of the other standards from learning management systems where we can ingest data and then manage that as well. So a lot of times we'll sit down with a company and work through, okay, how have you been doing this thing? You know, where is your data right now? And then, you know, how do we ingest that data and help you, stand up the system?
Thank you.
So, Chris, if we got more time, Dave.
Yes.
I'd love to ask this question because I'm very passionate about this area. I also run another AFCEA subcommittee. It's called the Cyber Workforce Subcommittee. We've been active for over 5 years, and we've been focused on 8140 development with DoD, had discussions with Mark Gorick over at the Pentagon regarding the implementation of their strategy. So I'm curious, Chris, has the platform you developed, has it been able to integrate the workforce management tools, the learning management systems to automate? Because you talked about, getting away from the spreadsheets and the disparate areas where all the data is contained. I see integration a real enabler for you. Can you talk about how that journey has been with your platform?
So Glenn, I'm going to have to table that question because right now I've been with the company for 2 weeks, and I'm really not up to speed on that particular issue. But I can tell you that you and I can definitely have a side conversation. I can pull in people who will be able to answer that question for you. What I can tell you is that as we're setting up individual organizations, that we're able to via APIs automate as any data pulls that they've had and integrate those into the solution.
Thanks, Chris. And
yeah, no problem.
We got 30 seconds if anybody wants it. And I think we're good. All right. Well, that's pretty close competition there.
Yeah.
So we're now going to go to our deliberations. The judges will go to a separate Zoom room where they'll communicate with each other. And we're going to go, in the meantime, to a sponsor program from EC First and Ali Pabrai, who's a CMMC expert. And since that seems to be some of the subject line today, I think it's appropriate. So we're going to go to see that video, and we'll be back shortly. Hi, I'm Dave Gardy for CyberSecurity TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. for this special presentation. Joining me now is the CEO of EC First, Mr. Ali Pabrai. Ali, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Dave. Very excited to be here with you. And we are here to talk about, we are finally in this period beyond the CMMC comment period that we've been in for about 60 days, and hundreds of comments that have been received. And there were also many requests to extend the CMMC comment period, which were rejected by the Pentagon. So the good news is things are moving, and we are in that post-comment period. The senior executives within the Department of Defense, as well as from the Pentagon, here are some quotes that are exactly from them about the priority being given to the CMMC program that is so important for everyone in the defense industrial base to recognize, to understand that it is finally progressing really, really well. This is a key slide. We spent a lot of time trying to analyze the information in the 234-page proposed rule. I wanted to kind of make it simple, make it easy for everyone to get the facts in one slide on one page. And on the left side, you see level 1 requirements. Those are 15. They are referred to as requirements. There are 15, 110. We've known about the 110 level 2 requirements. What's new with CMMC in the proposed rule is the 134 level 3 requirements. And what that means is there are 24 new requirements that have been added. If you look at the box in the bottom left, 8 guidance documents that were released as a part of the proposed rule. And so these are really important. The defense industrial base can get a head start. You can add rocket fuel to your efforts by at least getting familiar with what are these documents. And you want to start with the model overview document. That's the first one to be looking at. And then the numbers, I love numbers. On the right side, over 220,000 number of entities that will need a CMMC assessment, over 135,000 in terms of level 1 assessments. Number of level 2 self-assessments is very, very small. Those are going to be very deliberate. I think those are not going to be as many self-assessments because really at level 2, you come into contact with CUI, as all of you know. And so the bulk of those are going to be subject to third-party certification. It is important that small, medium organizations in the defense industrial base start their journey with CMMC now, not to wait, because we are going to see the impact of this proposed rule a lot sooner than we expect. And really, the first step is take a step back, knowledge acquisition, define the scope, what's included, what's not included, identify the assets, develop a system security plan. Number 4, I cannot emphasize that enough. Number 4 to me is the concrete and steel that you need to build your CMMC program on. 4 is pivotal. Updating your policies and procedures so those are aligned with the system security plan. Organizing your artifacts. This is where the rubber meets the road in terms of your evidences that you're doing what you've said you will do in your system security plan and your policies and procedures. And then finally, step 7, depending on whether you're level 1 or level 2, is to actually go through the process of whether it's a self-assessment at level 1 or an actual assessment at level 2. And as I look to close my presentation here, step 1, knowledge acquisition. It's really important. All the stakeholders, this is a key point. For an organization, small, medium businesses and organizations, it's important to acquire the knowledge, know the facts, understand what needs to be implemented within an organization to be compliant, to be meeting the requirements of this really important CMMC standard. So very excited, Ali Pabrai with EC First, to be here with you, and I hope to see you in one of our classes for the CCP and the CCA programs coming up that we've got a published schedule for through the end of the year. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thanks, Ali. And if people want to find out more about EC First and some of these classes, where should they go on the web?
I think the best place would be www.ecfirst.biz, BIZ/CMMC.
Okay, we'll put that on the screen. Thank you again. We've been talking to Ali Pabrai. Now that the rule comment period is closed, the rule is out, and people are beginning to deal with it for the CMMC. Thank you, Ali.
Control your excitement.
I'm Dave Gardy for CyberSecurity TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. for this special presentation on key takeaways from the rule. Thanks for joining us. Hello, I'm Dave Gardy for CyberSecurity TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. for this special presentation in preparation for the CyberSecurity TV Shark Fest. And joining us now from Impress is Steve Ridgway. He's the Executive Vice President of Emerging Technology. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. Really appreciate you having me here.
Tell us about what Impress is all about.
So Impress is a federal solution provider. We've been in business for the past 2 decades. And our specialty is more around the cybersecurity before even cybersecurity was a term. So really focusing on the AD&E aspects of network security.
What are some of the services and solutions that Impress offers?
Sure. So we provide data center migration and management. We do, I call it the 3 pillars. So we provide hardware, we provide software, and then really the solution services to tie it all together.
Excellent. Now, what are some of the market applications for your solutions in your client base?
One of the things that we really strive to bring to market are the emerging technologies and bleeding edge security aspects to customers that may not have the time to really get out there and see what's the newest, latest, and greatest. And so, being that we work in the security arena and more of the enterprise data center and network security within the federal space, a lot of what we do is advisory work, to be honest with you, is understanding the customer, trying to just listen, to be honest, and understand what they're trying to achieve, be agnostic in what we provide, and frankly, just give them options to consider for what would be best for their environment. We work a lot of mission-specific customers that have very, very highly tight parameters of what we can and can't do. But the best thing about it is really introducing emerging technology to the customer.
So what is the value proposition that separates you from your competitors?
Well, it's an interesting question, but where I always land on is I'm a taxpayer just like you, Dave. I've been working in the federal space for the past 20 years. I don't like to see any misuse of funds. I like to provide what actually works. So that's why, as a trusted advisor to the customer, we have the freedom to really reach out to what the best technology is for this particular customer mission set, and really just give them what they're looking for instead of trying to sell them something that's not going to work in their existing architecture or infrastructure. And again, trying to really solve for problem that's why they're reaching out. So, it's humbling, it's enjoyable. I love it because we're really trying to make America, frankly, stronger, better, more efficient. Instead of just trying to sell them something that we think or an OEM may think is best for them. So we try and take the ambiguity and the lack of a better term, just an OEM trying to sell something just to sell something out of the conversation.
Understood. So now, what future challenges do you foresee in your market that you're preparing for now so that you'll be ready with solutions to support the clients when these challenges occur?
Yeah, by doing this for the past 20 some odd years, the biggest challenge, and it's no surprise, is the bureaucratic red tape of trying to get a new emerging technology on the approved product list. That is a problem. So I have a lot of companies that come to us and say, hey, we've got a great product, and they do have a great product. But within the federal space, the hardest thing is how do you apply that new technology from the new data scientist that has the best whiz bang into the federal space? And so it's going through the JIDIC approval process, getting it onto the approved product list. That's time consuming. And so that's one of the biggest challenges I see is getting something that's a new tech to actually then solving problem in the Fed space.
Excellent. Now, if people want to find out more about Impress, where should they go on the web?
So the best way is our website. That's www.impresstechnology.com, and that's with one S. One of the places you might want to go is click the Solutions tab. That talks about a lot of the different solutions that we bring to the table. About Us will give you the contact phone number and other email aliases to get further information on our offerings.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate the time you took today to support the event and also to give us a perspective of what Impress is all about. We've been speaking with Steve Ridgway, EVP of Emerging Technology with Impress. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Thank you, Dave. Really appreciate the time.
I'm Dave Gardy for CyberSecurity TV in preparation for the CyberSecurity TV Shark Fest. Stay tuned for more. Okay, and we're back. The judges have finished deliberating, and we're going to go to Glenn Hernandez to find out who the winner is.
All right, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Barbara. It's great to be back with the show. Hopefully your audience is really appreciating the time and effort that everybody put in to producing today and having the content. On behalf of the judges, I just want to thank all the competitors here. You all gave presentations that have lots of things that we liked, the things that we want to see as taxpayers really improve the security posture of the nation and really help out these companies because we know they all need the help that you guys provide. The companies that we saw today had lots of attributes that I think are common amongst all the others. They have innovation, they have opportunities to help the government, help companies in this space, and really trying to address the pain points that we see in the Department of Defense, we can see in government, especially in the training area with CyberStar and Checkpoint. You know, they're just killing it with their platform as well. But it was a very tough choice but we picked Comply AI today.
Congratulations.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Nick, any comments? You're muted, I think.
Just went on and off mute. First of all, terrific to be here again. Thank you all very, very much for the opportunity. As well as Dave and Chris, I mean, each of us are really have one goal in mind, and that's to help not only our national defense and also the people that serve in our services, but also are a part of the larger community that make this nation a great place to be. It's an honor to win today, and we look forward to working with as many of you as possible to help us get better at what we do and to help the people that we're trying to get better at what they do.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Chris and Pete. You did a great job. It was very close. I heard the judges trying to decide. So it always is in some of these things. So, but any closing comments, Barbara?
No, I think, really appreciate everybody talking about their innovative technologies, and it was good to kind of listen to where everybody's at. I think everyone did a great job, and I'm going to be looking into all of those companies a little more.
Excellent. So our next is tentatively scheduled for May, is our next cybersecurity webcast for the Shark Fest. We'll keep everybody here who watched today, make sure we get out to the audience the information on it. And if you're a company that's interested in doing it, just go to info@tvworldwide.com, and we'd like to hear from you. And we got a whole bunch of companies that have indicated interest that will be in the next cybersecurity webcast. We want to also thank Lori Mobuckout, who's going to be out for a while until, as she represents the Republican nominee for Congress in the 1st District of North Carolina. Quite quite an endeavor, and we wish you the best. And we'll
What an
miss you.
endeavor. Thank you. Hey, by the way, but not my show, but such a pleasure to be part of this. I've learned so much. I've been just delighted to learn about these companies. To my co-judges, Carrie and Glenn, always just such an honor to learn from you all. Dave and Barbara, thanks for setting this up. And it has really been a delight and a pleasure and very educational for me personally. So thank you all for your support of our national security. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We want to thank our sponsors, Educare and EC First, Ali Pabrai, and Impress, along with Connect IQ, a former candidate here on the Shark Fest. I'm Dave Gardy for CyberSecurity TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. Thanks for watching the CyberSecurity TV Shark Fest.